What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Celtics Daily with me, Mike Zakarian, as we continue to try to sift our way through the tumultuous, or soon-to-be tumultuous, offseason for the Boston Celtics. So what I figured we could do today, instead of just trying to see what's going to happen, let's talk about what has happened. Let's rank some of the best Boston Celtics trades in the history of the franchise, because I think we could just put some of that good trade energy into the atmosphere, and then maybe we find a trade this offseason that vaults them into the rankings. So we're going to look at the best trades in Celtics history. But before we do that, if this is your first time here, do me a favor, smash the subscribe button, hit the little notification bell so you know the next time we're dropping that Celtics content. It's good for the algo, baby. And it's just good. It's just good, you know? All right, let's start the rankings here. We're going to 1980. We're looking at the big three, all right? We're looking at the big three, but not, if you're a young person, not that big three of KG, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen. We'll get to that one later, but we're going to 1980. Now, the Celtics had some first-round picks. They sent it over to the Golden State Warriors. They had the first overall pick, sent it to the Warriors. The Celtics got back Robert Parrish, who, if you have not watched the Celtics documentary on HBO, is one of the more charismatic guys. I was a kid, at the tail end of the Chief era, the Robert Parrish run, and I remember him being pretty quiet. I did not know he had that in his bag. He's very fun. But anyways, Robert Parrish comes over, and then they get the Warriors' first-round pick. See, the Warriors were so excited with the number one overall pick. They wanted Joe Barry Carroll, who was out of Purdue, all right? And so they moved back, and the Warriors used their pick for Kevin McHale. So all of a sudden, you got Bird, you got McHale, you got Robert Parrish, and then you got rings. All right? Luckily, I am married. I had a wedding ring on there, but not a championship ring. No. But what a great trade. And it won't be the first time, or the last time, excuse me, that the Celtics have a first overall pick, move on back, and then get a W, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Actually, let's do that right now. Let's talk about how the Celtics got Jason Tatum, how this ended up going down, and we can just talk about how we stole from the Brooklyn Nets, okay? So the Celtics had got their ring. They got their Paul Pierce championship ring. Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, right? They had they had their run. They lose then in the finals to the Lakers when KG gets hurt. He's never really the same again after that. So the Celtics decide to blow it up. They're going to bring it all down and start over again. The Brooklyn Nets got that Russian guy, Prokhorov, right? I think that was probably a terrible pronunciation. He was there for a couple years. And he was like, let me spend as much money as possible, and then I will never spend again. And then Brooklyn, because of this, set the Celtics up to where we still are today. So this is what the Nets got in this deal, okay? Nets got Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Jason Terry, who I honestly forgot he was on the Celtics, DJ White. Then they got a 2017 first-round draft pick and a 2017 second-round draft pick, okay? Those all went to Brooklyn. Here's what the Celtics got. This is a bunch of, naming dudes. Keith Bogans. I believe he was a Kentucky legend. Keith Bogans, Marshawn Brooks. I think Marshawn Brooks was out of Providence. I can't believe I know this. Chris Humphries, out of the Kardashians. You had Gerald Wallace. That was like the big money get there. And then Chris Joseph, who, I'll be honest, I don't know who that is. Then they had the 2014 first-round pick, 2016 first-round pick, 2017 first-round pick, and the 2018 first-round pick. All right? Just an insane heist for Brooklyn. Brooklyn, who ended up going on, had a competitive season or two, but then quickly just jammed that all down, right? And these guys, this turned into Jaylen Brown. This turned into Jason Tatum. I mean, just incredible stuff. And to go back to the Tatum conversation, right? If you remember, that year, they had the first-round pick, the Lakers, I believe, picked second, and the Sixers picked third. And then Danny Ainge was doing some, Jedi mind stuff. Got Philly to be like, oh, my God, we gotta trade. We gotta make a trade. They go get, they trade up. Markelle Fultz goes one. Markelle Fultz, who was on the Magic for a little bit. Then I think he was with the Kings for a little bit, maybe. Might be out the league right now. Number 2, Lonzo Ball, who Lonzo I actually root for. I like Lonzo Ball. I hope he stays healthy. He's actually an interesting name to pay attention to this offseason. And then the Celtics got Jason Tatum. So Brooklyn, listen, where Brooklyn at? In the Celtics' back pocket. That was just beautiful, beautiful stuff there from that's gotten us at least a title, right? All of these trades have gotten us rings, right? The Celtics in the 80s won a handful. You've got this one, which got us to the 2022 finals, and then got us the 2024 chip. And then this next one got us a billion titles, okay? Because we're talking about the ring goat himself, the Celtics goat, Bill Russell. Bill Russell, just an incredible achievement, obviously. This was a three-player trade. A total of three players were involved in this. Ready? 1956, Red Auerbach. Light up the cigar, okay? Coveted the University of San Francisco center, Bill Russell, over any player in the NBA draft. So this is what they had to do. They traded Cliff Hagan and Ed McCauley to the Hawks for the number 2 pick. Both of those guys, I believe, we should fact check this in real time, but I'm pretty sure Ed McCauley and Cliff Hagan both NBA Hall of Famers, so at least it's like a blockbuster. But then Billy Russell, with the second overall pick, comes to Boston, and then just incredible, right? This is from Fadeaway Worlds here. They said at first the deal looked even when Russell led Boston to a title in 57, but the Hawks came right back in 1958 and defeated Boston in the NBA Finals, led by McCauley, Hagan, and Bob Pettit was over there too. But then Russell and the Celtics made it a non-conversation because over the next 11 seasons, they won 10 NBA championships. He had 5 MVPs. Now, people would be like, dude, you want to know the NBA dynasty? The San Antonio Spurs, Tim Duncan, okay, David Robinson, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, all right? They won a couple of titles. The Miami Heat with LeBron. They won 2 out of 4. Golden State Warriors won a handful, right? 10 of 11. They won 10 of 11. That's just nuts, man. That's nuts. So shout out Bill Russell. Again, that Celtics doc on HBO, highly recommend. It was a lot of fun. All right, we got one more. We got one more here. And again, hopefully putting just some good energy. Before we do the last one, though, just a reminder, smash that subscribe. Let's get those numbers up, okay? All right, here we go. KG. Man, I remember exactly where I was. I had just graduated college, I believe. Yes, I am old. I just graduated college. And I was at this bar I was living in Boston at the time. And now I'm blanking on the name of it, but it was like right at, it was like on like the Brookline line kind of, or Chestnut Hill area. Man, the end of the D line, right? I remember they had this crazy wing deal where it's like rogues. No, whatever. I'm doing a terrible job with this story. I just said I know exactly where I was and then proceeded to not be able to tell you where I was. But I remember watching it happen and just being like blown away because as a Celtics fan of a certain age, right? I caught the tail end of Larry Bird. All right, Larry Bird on a back brace. Then Reggie Miller was my favorite player as a child. He tragically passes away. Then I'm like rooting for Sherman Douglas and Dana Barros. I'm just like, you know, it's not great, Bob, you know? And then, like, yeah, you got Twan and Walker, and that was like a fun run, but no one really believed they were going to take down the Nets in the playoffs. It was just Walter McCarty. That's what we were doing. I love Walter. We're yelling stuff like that. All of a sudden, we lose out on KD, right, in the draft, because this is how this all goes down. You don't get Kevin Durant in the draft or Greg Oden, but it was going to be KD. And you're like, we got Jeff Green. All of a sudden, that turns into Ray Allen, and then bang. Kevin Garnett arrives like a few weeks later. And this is what the deal was. The Celtics got KG. Here's a bunch of dudes that were on the Celtics that you might have forgot about. Al Jefferson. Remember Big Al? Underrated. Then Gerald Green. Gerald Green, like, then sneaky, had a sort of resurgence for the Houston Rockets later. Theo Ratliff. How about Theo Ratliff? And then Sebastian Telfair. Ryan Gomes, who I always had a soft spot. I believe he was I think, right? Wasn't Ryan Gomes like a Providence guy? And then some picks on top of that. But then again, and you know who was... this is how you start a video and end a video in the same sentence, right? Or not in the same sentence, but who completed that trade for us from the Minnesota Timberwolves? A member of the OG Big Three, Kevin McHale. So, Kevin... Thank you. And honestly, like even if you weren't a Celtics fan, I got to believe you were just happy to see Kevin Garnett get out of Minnesota. They just never, Minnesota hated spending money, right? They just got new ownership. I can't believe I'm like, oh, A-Rod, probably a better owner than what they had in Glenn. But to get KG like playing in the playoffs, that was a lot of fun. So Kevin Garnett got himself. So there you go. That's it. We had the big three up top. Right, where we got McHale and Parrish for Joe Barry Carroll. Then you got Brooklyn, who we just like basically put a gun in their back and was like, give me everything you got, which turned into what we have now. You got the ring goat himself, Bill Russell. and then KG, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen. You get to a title. Just love it. Love it. So there you go. Let's put that energy into this Celtics offseason, okay? So maybe we look back, we see Drew Holiday gets moved, or Porzingis gets moved, or again, be quiet about it, but maybe Jaylen Brown or Derek White get moved, and we see the return, and then we're doing these videos in 2031 where my hairline's receding a little bit more. It's a lot grayer, right? And we're like, wow. Let's update the list. Let's update the list. Appreciate everybody tuning in and hanging out for the Celtics Daily with me, Mike Zakarian. Hit the subscribe on the way out, and we will see you next time.